Hi there, everyone. Today's topic is such an important topic, and it is so relevant for me this week because it's one of the busiest weeks that I've had in a long time. So I'm delighted to present to you maintaining momentum without burning out. So topical. I know so many leaders that go in cycles of getting busier and busier and busier and then burning out, being so caught up in the thing and hoping that they can do it and hoping that they can do it, but then burning out. So it really is such a key topic to be able to talk about, maintaining momentum without burning out. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. Maintaining momentum without burning out. I'm Cathy Sheppard. I'm the founder and CEO of BSI People Skills. I'm an international speaker and coach and facilitator, a mentor, and all of those sorts of things. My passion is about helping people, helping leaders build amazing cultures and organizations, creating workplaces which feel like homes for the soul. So part of that is about developing people's leadership so that they can lead their people really well and lead an amazing organization. So this is one of the things as leaders of organizations, we are wanting to be able to build momentum. We're wanting to be able to see results. And when we start to see those things coming to fruition, it is really, really exciting. And then things start to get busy, right? And we can keep going at that pace for a while. But one of the things to be really, really aware of is that unsustainable pace is exhausting. You will burn out, or you will burn out your people, or both. So this is about being able to build and maintain that momentum, which is exciting, but being able to keep a handle of it so that it doesn't go out of control and so that you're looking after yourself and looking after your people. So one of the things that happens with momentum as that momentum builds is that people start to get really, really busy. And so when you're in the middle of that and you're really busy, you can feel like you're making great progress. But just because you're busy does not necessarily mean that you are making progress. And it's really important to be aware of that. So it's important to be able to, even in the midst of that busyness, to be able to stop and think, is this actually helping us move forward? The other thing is that when people are really busy, you start to think about all the urgent things. And so you're operating in the space where the things that are urgent are the things that need looking at. And you've got this idea of urgency as the default. Everything is urgent. But that is not the case. And it is really important in those times to be able to take a step back and to actually look at your priorities and to identify what is important and what people need to do. And the third thing that happens in this is that people forget about themselves and they forget about the things that they need to do to be able to recover their energy, um, basically their energy, the things that feed them, that it mean that they are able to keep going and keep leading, because you cannot lead from an empty bucket. And your people cannot continue to give when their buckets are empty as well. So this stuff around recovery, it's the same with rowers, that time when the oar is out of the water is as important, if not more, than when your oar is in the water. So that rest and recovery is absolutely vital for the next step. So here we go. As the leader in your organization, you set the pace. Everything that you do sets the pace for how people work. You set the tone. You show how much you are available or not available. You're creating the boundaries around yourself. You're creating the boundaries around other people, and you're also enabling that space for recovery. So you're setting the space and the pace in all of those different areas. And so what you are wanting is what you're needing to model, what you're needing to look out for in others, so that they too have got that time for recovery, that you are available to them to be able to answer their questions and so on. So it's really important that when you're getting busier, that you take stock and that you're looking at the pace that you're setting and the impact on your people for those particular things. Remember, we talked about last time about protecting the focus and yourself. These three things are absolutely not negotiable. Being able to protect the way that you show up, your presence, the way that you show up for your people, the way that you manage your own emotions, the self-regulation, the way that you are able to keep the focus on what is important and therefore being able to make the decisions that help support those things that are important. So as this momentum is building, you're needing to always take that step back to be able to look at how am I showing up? What am I doing to keep my emotions in check and being able to look after myself and making decisions that are the right decisions? So there. Some of the early warning signs are really helpful. If you're starting to notice that you've got shorter patience, that you're getting frustrated easier, and therefore responding in ways that you don't necessarily like. Another key thing, and this is one thing that I really notice, is that I start to drop those habits or those rituals that I need in my life to help me uh, um, be at optimum health. The things that set me up for the day, things like I always go for a walk first thing in the morning. If I start to find that I don't necessarily have enough time for that, then that's called dropping that habit, right? And you might be all right for a day or two without that habit, but it the flow-on effect is there. And the reasons why I do walking in the morning, for example, is that it gives me energy and it helps me to clear my mind. It helps me to get my body moving, my mind moving. It helps me to feed my mind with beauty, if you like, because I always walk outside. And so this is a really, really important habit for me, or a part of my life, that if I drop it, and that dropping it happens over time, it will have a serious flow-on effect into my ability to lead, my ability to lead myself, my ability to lead my people, and my ability to lead my business. And so that can be a really key thing to notice. Am I dropping a habit? Another one is around a decision fatigue. So, are you having difficulty making decisions? Are there decisions that are taking you longer to make than others? Are you finding it more difficult to make those decisions? And the other one is making decisions without the reflection, or sitting there at the end of the day and you haven't had time to actually reflect on the day, what's been working, or reflect on the week and what's been working. You're just on that hamster wheel, that treadmill. And so when you're starting to see any of these signs, the shorter patience, the dropping habits, finding it difficult to make decisions, or not taking that time for reflection, it is really important to stop and go, hang on a moment, where am I going? What's happening? What's important? And to, put your own oxygen mask on first, if you like. What are the things that I need to do to stop myself burning out so that I can lead my organization and lead my team? So when you have sustainable momentum, what it looks like is you've got really clear priorities. So this helps with your decision fatigue, right? If you've got really clear priorities, then it helps you to make decisions. It helps you to know what is important, and then you can make decisions clearly. And also then structure the messaging around that so that your people know what your priorities are. What it's also doing is we've got protected recovery here. So what it's doing is protecting that space for you all to be able to uh, look after and rebuild your energy, getting enough rest, getting enough good food, getting enough sleep, all of those sorts of things, getting the exercise that you need in order to be able to look after yourselves and have that time with your families that feeds your energy. And having these intentional boundaries as well, whether that's boundaries over how long meetings are, or start times and finish times of work, or um, um, uh, what other sorts of things might be an intentional boundary around your exercise time or your family time, or there's all sorts of things that may be those intentional boundaries, particularly around not working at night or not working in the weekends. And because that's something particularly for leaders that they will let slide, and they'll start to, add in that extra little meeting there or do more work over the weekend or something. And it's a slippery slope. And these consistent habits, the things that I was talking about before, like the walking in the morning, for me, it's got to be consistent for me. And uh, then what it's doing is supporting that sustainable momentum. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about they haven't had a holiday in 3 years, but they've created their entire life so that their life is full of the sustainable momentum. They only work X number of hours in a day, and they've got time in the morning for their self-care. They've got their block of work time, and then they've got this rest of the day time where they've got the opportunity to build their family relationships and do all of those other things that they want to do. And they don't work weekends as well. So they've got these short blocks of time, which is their intentional boundaries. They've got their recovery time. They've got their really consistent habits that are around this. And basically, they don't burn out because they've got their clear priorities. And so this life that they've created is incredibly sustainable, and they're able to be there for themselves, for their people, for their business, and so on. So, yeah, it was really lovely talking to them about what they're doing. So, what I'd like you to do today is a short reflection. It's a pressure check, and just think about these things. Where are you pushing too hard? Where is it that you're trying to get results in a way that is not sustainable? What habits have slipped? Think about those habits, particularly that sustain you, uh, whether it's food, whether it's sleep times, whether it's exercise, whether it's, meditation, whether it's those, the mindfulness things. What are the habits that have slipped that are not helping at the moment? What feels unsustainable? If you're thinking about the things, the amount of time that you're putting into things, or the pressures on different team members, or any of those things, just take a take a step back and just have a look and think: is there anything that feels unsustainable? If it was continue to go on like this, when would it break down? And then the last thing is, what needs to slow down but not stop. I'm not talking about stopping things. What needs to slow down but not stop? And one of the things my mentor, Roger Hamilton, talks about is that in nature, everything is accomplished, right? Everything has its own time, it has its own season. And sometimes things need to slow down in order to be able to speed up again. So sometimes it's thinking, well, actually, I thought we'd be able to do that in 3 weeks, but actually it's unsustainable in 3 weeks. So what happens? What's the time frame that we need to put on it in order to make it sustainable and not burn everybody out? And then we can keep going on that. So there we go, those 4 areas to think about this week. So as we head into the end of this particular workshop, culture is everything, and it starts with you. This topic about maintaining momentum without burning out is such an important one. I know, because I've burned out a couple of times in my life, and it's just not worth it. So please take the time, look after yourself, think about the areas that you need to work on in order to be able to maintain and build that momentum that's going to sustain everybody and sustain you and make you proud of the work that you're all doing together. If you would like to see more of these, remember that there'll be more of them coming up, so please remember to register. And yeah, I look forward to, if you're wanting to be able to talk with me about the work that I'm doing and any of the challenges that you're facing, then please feel free to book an appointment with me. I'd love to talk with you. Thanks very much.